What is going on, everybody? We're here and we're live on RK Outpost Live, the monthly supporter stream. It's already come around. How does it happen this quickly? How does time go by this fast? I'm not sure, but it's been 4 weeks since we did the last one, and we're back. We're ready. We're raring to go. I feel hyped today. I don't know why. I feel energized. I feel ready to go. And just like always, we've got an assortment of cast and people that are coming to talk to you, because you hear from me enough. You hear from me every goddamn day on Geeks Gamers Daily or Friday Night Tights or my own damn channel. But this day, this last Sunday of the month, you get to hear from people who aren't necessarily me talk about some of the stuff that's in the news as well. It's always an entertaining conversation from my biggest supporters, the top tier channel members over on RK Outpost, the top tier patron members as well, or if you contribute over on locals at that top tier. And I appreciate the hell out of these guys coming and hanging out with me and tolerating me for, 90 minutes or so every single week. And I see people in the chat are excited. People in the chat are excited to talk about George Lucas. And anytime George talks about Star Wars, there's always going to be some conversation surrounding it. That's exactly what we had. How ironic that on the anniversary of Star Wars, the actual Star Wars Day, I know everybody loves their "May the 4th be with you." I know everybody loves that shit. It's a great corporate slogan, great way to fucking sell shit. But to me, listen, anytime you want to celebrate Star Wars, good day. For me, May 25th, it actually has meaning. There's actually something significant that happened on May 25th, and that's in 1977. Star Wars was released in theaters. And on the anniversary of that day, what's the entire internet talking about? George Lucas talking about how Disney Star Wars lost the plot. So we're going to get into that. And maybe some We Was Samurai and shit, because we haven't talked about Ubisoft's massive fuck up Assassin's Creed Shadows with these group of guys. So that will be very, very exciting. Without any further ado, we might as well get right into it. Sir Reefer, how's it going, man?
Oh, not too bad. Got bunch of fucking shit. Got pulled over for my fucking windshield the other day. That sucked.
Was a crack in it or something?
Oh, dude. So there's no safety inspections where I'm at, and there's also no emissions tests. My county's based. So when I registered it, I asked about my windshield because it was beat to shit, like spider webs everywhere. But because it's a Trailblazer, and I'm fairly tall, I sit really high just underneath the sunshade, so I don't notice them, and my rear view gets in the way more than anything else. Well, so I had to spend $330 to fix that shit.
Well, that's brutal. I've got a massive crack in my windshield and have for 8 months and haven't done shit about it. So I'll probably get pulled over tomorrow now since I said that.
Bro, I had it for almost 2 years.
Hey, it's gonna come. The chickens will come home to roost, I guess. You don't take care of it. But thanks for being here, man.
Though.
We've also got, I don't even know if you need a car from where this man is from. I don't know what they do in fucking Europe. They just walk everywhere, bike everywhere. Mr. J, what's up, man?
Hey, fuck you, Ryan.
What? Am I right?
Shit.
You have a car?
Of course I have a car. The Germans invented the car. Our dear neighbors who never make any mistakes. Cough, cough.
I'm sure you guys are always kind of looking over your shoulder to see what Germany's doing. You've got a bad history there.
Yeah, it's kind of, psychological at this point,
I hear you. Well, thanks for being here, Mr. J. Speaking of a bad history with Germany, what's up, Sleazy?
I hate you all. I really do. What's going on, guys?
I didn't plan that. It just happened, okay?
You gotta plan all this.
You gotta come up with a segue in some way, and that's just the one that ended up working out.
Okay.
But no, good to have you here, man. Good to have you here, man.
I'm happy to not be in an oven.
Wait, we need diversity on the panel. So we've also got joining us once again, Grandmaster Chris. What's up?
I'm still laughing about your comment about sleazy the Jews, and I just thought about this. You were talking before the stream that like we need more representation on these streams, and we got sleazy for the Jews, Mexican Iron Man for the Mexicans. Technically, for me, you can also add ADHD to that list because
I don't know if that fucking counts. I feel like half the people are diagnosed with that shit every day anyway. So, but
yeah, they're making me feel a lot less special. But it's my gimmick.
We'll take what we can get. Yeah, pretty much ADHD and autism. That's not even fun. That's not representation where everybody's got that shit. So we're on the internet here. But good to have you here, Grandmaster Chris. Joining us
Good to be here.
second or third time, we've got the man who does not miss. But just in case he does, he's got a lot of backup weaponry. Alec Baldwin's finger. What's up, man?
Not much. Yeah, I got a new backdrop for the camera now. That was kind of fun to install. So
it looks awesome, man.
What'd you use for that?
It was like something called like Gunwall as a website. You can configure your own size and everything. But no, I'm here representing the GCA once again, and we're at 399 subs currently. So I don't know if there's anyone out there that can help out with that to get to 400.
I can unsub.
Already subscribed.
Well, we've got Biggles is dropping links in the chat, so we'll see what we can do on the stream. We'll see how many people we get and if we can push some people that way. So thanks for joining us, ABF from the GCA. And like we said, since Sleazy was not enough representation, we need to bring someone who could just look at and know. And Mexican Iron Man is here, and he's always got something to say. What's up, Mexican Iron Man?
Thanks for having me. Hail RK Nation. Bring in the diversity. Skin color test approved.
Hola, senor.
Oh, yes. Hola, senor. Always good to have Mexican Iron Man here. And last but certainly not least, we've got Biggles, who's dropping links in the chat. What's up, Biggles?
Hi, I'm dropping a link. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hi. I'm here.
You dropping those links in the middle of you spreading democracy?
Well, I already did that. I'm now here. I'm for the stream. That's
There you
over.
go.
Stream's already over.
You were doing Helldivers, right, before we started?
Yeah, on stream.
Now, I'm not sure if Reaper is totally down with that.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I just would like to point out that Sony still has Helldivers blocked for play and sale in over 180 countries.
And yes, that is more than it was previously.
damn.
Because it started at 174, then it went up 3,
yeah.
then it went up 3, and now it's up even more.
Helldivers has been kicked out of a lot of countries, that's for sure. But we'll see what happens with that. I certainly hope that eventually that changes. The fact that you don't have to link the PSN account is good.
It's a step in the right direction.
For someone like me, it doesn't matter, right? Like the first thing I fucking did when I did that was I linked my PlayStation Network account because I have one and I don't care quite frankly. So I linked my shit like the first and only time I played Helldivers 2. That is still the only time I've ever played. It was on that one singular stream. And I had a good time. It was fun. But yeah, a lot of people not happy with that. People not happy with Sony for a lot of different reasons lately. And really just all of big gaming at this point.
Well, Ryan, don't worry. Sony's going to turn that reputation around because have you heard what Neil Druckmann just said? His next project's going to redefine how people perceive video games.
Well, that's what Last of Us 1 did. That's why everything's a fucking cutscene. Here's this game, 85% cutscenes. Thanks, Last of Us 1. He's already done that.
Lie. I enjoy the Dark Pictures games. That's like Until Dawn, Man of Medan, that shit. But that's because I don't know. It's more about the choices and less about the mechanics.
Yeah, it's a walking simulator, choose your own adventure path.
I would say it's more visual novel that moves. Am I wrong?
No, that works too.
And I mean, I would be fine with that if everyone didn't start doing that as well, and it was just Naughty Dog's thing. But after, like you said, after Last of Us 1 did it, pretty much every single player game after that has done the exact same thing, and it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, like it does get crazy. I think it's fine to have a couple games that are like that. It's when everybody saw it and kind of took advantage of it and like, hey, let's do this. And if it is a great story, you can get pulled in. The problem is when everyone starts doing that, you get a lot of shit stories. Mm-hmm. It becomes a big fucking problem. And there's a little bit of a lack of great writing ability, it seems, in all of entertainment, including video games. And
indies. The indie scene in video games is still thriving. I just want to put that out there. It's mainly AAA and big releases.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think more so
also-
than ever, because the ability to get your game published, the barrier is lower than it's ever been for independent content creator, or for independent game creators. But for the big guys, and especially with the push for DEI and all that stuff, we kind of saw it come to a head a week and a half ago.
Samurais become kings.
Yes,
Kings.
samurais were kangs, and man, you can just see this trailer featuring Yosuke, the black samurai. And if you don't believe he was a black samurai, you're just the biggest bigot in the world.
Okay, so for the weebs, I'll get it for you. Ryan, I'm not correcting you. Yosuke.
Yosuke, I don't give a
Yosuke.
fuck. I don't give a fuck.
I know. That's why I'm not correcting you. I know the weebs will be bugged if they don't at least hear it once.
Yeah, they're gonna
Yosuke,
complain about it anyway.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
gonna call him Yosuke from now on.
Yosuke.
Yeah, that seems like a black man samurai name. Yosuke. People did not like this. 700,000 dislikes to 280,000 likes.
That's rough, buddy.
This has been the month of ratio trailers. Acolyte, Rings of Power, and now this.
See if you can pull up the Ubisoft Japan video.
Oh yeah.
The ratio's even
Oh
worse
Lord.
That one.
But hey, Ubisoft says no to racism, except for Japan, of course. But that doesn't matter. Because according to Ubisoft, Japanese people just aren't as high up on the oppression Olympics as the black
Japanese people are racist. That's why they think it's okay.
I mean, you're not wrong. Most of Asia is.
I know how.
It's an
I know how
state.
Asian people can be regarded as an underserved minority group. They just got to underperform like we Hispanic and Black folk do.
Yeah, at this
I
I'm
can
point,
say that.
touching that
I
one.
can say that.
I'm not touching that one.
I can say that.
well, you're not wrong. You've even heard like the phrase like Asians are now considered white adjacent when you're talking about diversity requirements.
That is
Exactly.
so retarded.
Because they, again, like test scores and that they do overperform, like in general. Even they overperform white people. So once that's happening, you're no longer considered a minority. You're no longer a fucking victim, right? When you start doing better than white people. And I'm having a tough time finding the Japan trailer just because it's buried in people destroying Assassin's Creed Shadows. But the Japanese trailer ratio, obviously not as many people saw it, not as many people disliked it, but the ratio was worse. The ratio is almost a 10-1 from the very place where this is supposed to be Assassin's Creed in Japan, and they rejected this wholeheartedly.
This game is
Ryan,
going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars.
Throw it in the chat for you.
Yeah, let's get to this here. Oh my gosh, 45,000 dislikes to 5,000 likes. Where the fuck did it go? Oh, here it is. I'm moving all my shit around here. Sorry, guys. Boom, boom. There we go. Look at this. And I didn't even dislike this one because it's fucking Japanese. Why should I dislike that? 5,000.
Actually, out of
likes.
curiosity, can we get a few seconds of the voice actors? I haven't seen this one.
Sure. I think the closed captions would just say Asian noises right there.
Probably. Jesus fucking Christ.
There you go. There's your voice acting. How do you like that? Hello?
I think he's dealing with something. in
Fuck,
chat.
I'm muted. Shit,
Okay.
I forgot I muted on my sound on my audio controller. I was just saying I can't really hear anything super egregious, but I'm not like an expert in that. I was more curious about like the enthusiasm. Because in Japanese and it like mainly in Japanese IPs, the Japanese voice actors tend to be a lot more enthusiastic and it just sounds a bit more natural, mainly because it's the native language. So I was curious about that.
most Japanese properties, like the commentary and the voice acting is very enthusiastic. If you ever watch a match from New Japan Pro Wrestling, the Japanese commentators, they are very animated. They're yelling and screaming pretty much the entire time. But I can't help but appreciate that because that shows enthusiasm.
But obviously, what sticks out like a sore thumb is that they decided to take a real historical person in Yosuke. I don't know how the fuck I'm supposed to say it.
Yosuke would be the English way of saying it.
Good. Well, I'll say it like I'm English then. Yosuke.
Yosuke.
A real historical person who did exist, was black, but there's no evidence anywhere that he was a samurai. They decided
he was a retainer.
They decided to make him a fucking samurai
The one
for this game.
black man we know of in the entire Sengoku Jidai period. The one black man, and they went with him. That is a level of desperation that I haven't seen before. The one black person they could find in the last 500 years of Japanese history, and they put him in as the main character in the game.
And then they made him gay too.
Oh yeah.
They made them both non-binary or whatever.
You guys
just rumor at this point, though?
Wikipedia told me that he did a lot of important things.
Is it confirmed that he's going to be gay?
Of course it is. It's Ubisoft.
Yeah, you're going to be able to have like homosexual relationships. They've been doing that since what, Odyssey?
I remember in Odyssey. And
if you go back to something like Assassin's Creed Syndicate, they had like strip a trans person in Victorian London because that was totally a thing back then.
I think that in Odyssey, if I remember right, they give you the option, right? So you encounter a dude who's like a guy who's gay, and you're like, you have an option. Hey, do you want to flirt with this guy? I mean, what do you think I chose every time? Fuck no, I didn't.
You can also bet an older woman.
Yes, that's true. You can have sex with an older woman.
Who says yes to that?
Me.
The older woman part?
Yeah.
Just making sure, just confirming.
He's not Biggles, okay?
Yeah. Wait, what?
Biggles. Balls or no balls?
I have balls.
No, you don't know the question. Sleazy knows. Sleazy, same question.
Balls.
Okay.
The best part about that was the hesitation after Reaper asked that.
For those of you that don't know, the question is, do you like your Futinaris with balls or no balls?
No balls.
Where's the fun in that?
I'm not gonna fucking answer the question. Yeah.
I can't answer that question because I'm Mexican.
There you go. See, just taking advantage of the brown card right there. I see how it
Well,
works.
I have balls, so I answered.
No habla inglés.
Exactly.
Yep.
No English.
The real answer was like if it had like probably just no balls. You know what I mean? That's like what the answer would be. But if I had a gun to my head. But when it comes to Ubisoft, one, they've been woke as shit for a long time, and this trailer came out at the worst possible time in terms of like the gaming space because there's just so much attention and pushback and backlash against so many of these companies right now. And then Ubisoft comes out with the Assassin's Creed game that people have been asking for forever, for a decade that I can remember.
Game one.
Yeah. People have been saying this would be cool to do in Japan. It would be a perfect setting for Assassin's Creed. They finally do it after years and years and years. And after Ghost of Tsushima coming out and being like, look at the possibilities, look at what you could have. And they go out and they have a black male protagonist. Now, they also do have a Japanese female protagonist, which the last couple of games you've had both the option of playing as a man or a woman in these things. This one, they're good
fine.
And you can't have a Japanese man. It's not important enough. That culture isn't important enough. You have to black the Japanese culture with Yosuke. And it's just bullshit.
So to everyone who is running defense for this game, when Ubisoft potentially does an Assassin's Creed game set in Africa and the main protagonist is Japanese, you're not allowed to criticize it.
Oh, we all know that's
I
never
want him
going
to
to
be
happen.
a Snow White fucking Viking.
That's never going to happen.
I'm just saying it's like double standards.
But in the end, it's not just that they put a black man, the one black man we know, into this game. It's also the pricing, the arrogance, of their pricing of this game. First of all, they knew putting this black man into this game would be controversial. Don't tell me they didn't. They knew, and then they did this extra with the prices. They are right now. They are on a level where I don't think they give a shit anymore. And if push comes to shove, and if everything, falls apart, they risk losing hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know how much this game costs to make, like 200-300 million. But they've lost the Japanese market. They've lost the South Korean market. They lost the Chinese market, right?
Well-
and instead of selling 10 million copies, they're probably not even going to sell half anymore.
Well, that's why they
No
jacked
Asian,
the price up.
as you said,
But
Asians
Mr.
are
J, according
Asians are very racist people. They don't want to play this shit.
Well, yeah, and that's the funniest part about all these game journalists coming out saying, the Japanese think it's fine, and then people remembered that translators are a thing, and you start translating the Japanese, Twitter feed, and turns out they don't like it. So
And then there's the third thing, because they didn't spend time to researching how things actually looked in this period of Japan. So many of the buildings, the way they dress and shit, are Chinese. They couldn't even care to do research on that part even.
well,
That's
according
another
to
thing the
these woke
Japanese have
white
been
people,
they have complained about,
all
right,
Asians
on the
are the
forums.
same according to them.
It is just the arrogance, right?
Well,
It's
then
not arrogant. You got to remember who is financially backing these companies. Like, I mean, look at Warhammer. Look at every company that's done the same thing. They don't care about the fans. They don't care about the people who actually buy it. They'll jack up the price for the same thing who's Call of Duty people. They'll jack up the price because they know people will buy it no matter what. It doesn't matter how many people they'll lose. They'll just keep jacking up the price. And if they don't make enough money, A, it's a tax write-off, and B, BlackRock will just send them more money.
And but the time of no matter what is done. It's over, because we now see that people are actually saying, okay, you don't want us, you don't want our money, fine.
well,
I got
Mr.
35
J,
years of gaming. I can go back to,
Mr. J, according to the drag queen actor from Doctor Who, for every bigot they get rid of, 3 more people will take their place because of the diversity. You just don't get it.
in La La Land.
Come on, guys.
It is,
You
just,
didn't need-
and
you
then
didn't
the
need-
people running defense for this. Oh, but he was a samurai and yada yada. Fuck off! He was a samurai. He was a fucking novelty. He was a freak show for the Japanese.
He was a carny. That's all he was.
Like
They thought he was covered in soot.
Maybe he was just wanted
he was
to-
brought in to work for the Nobuga plant, or no
Oda Nobunaga.
Nobunaga, right? He
Yes.
was brought in to work for the Nobunaga clan because they needed attention on them for their political aspirations.
He was a fucking sword carrier for the Lord. He went around with the sunscreen thingy, umbrella thingy, and he was allowed to carry his Lord's sword. He wasn't even fucking allowed to have a weapon of his own. He went into one battle, got captured, and sold back into slavery. Woo! Great story.
A sword carrier, like a mall ninja?
Yeah,
He was to say that the guy was a samurai in the Sengoku Jidai period. You become samurai two ways. You were born into it, or you were extinguished yourself in battle by taking heads and showing it to your lord. That's it. He was in one battle. He was most certainly not born into a samurai. He was a fucking clown for them. He was something to be shown. Look at this. I have a man who's black. Look at me. Look at this. Look at how a talking point for the fucking drinking nights they had or whatever.
yeah.
That's all he was.
yeah, and
Well-
it's just another case of them stretching the truth. Yeah, there was a black guy back then. Yeah, he touched a sword, and then all of a sudden it just turns into, yeah, he was a black samurai.
And if you say anything different, you're a fucking bigot, right? That's really where the narrative went, and why it's very predictably so.
The thing is,
And-
right? Had they not said from the get-go, we are trying to make this really as historical correct as possible, right? Instead, they could have said, this is a fantasy game. We're just spinning the bottle here and having a little bit of fun. That's why he's black. Yada yada yada. That's fine. But they say we want to try to make it historically correct in many points, right? That's what they want to do. Then why? Well, we know why, because there's only one reason. A black guy. That's it.
It's
And that's
kind of a
what's-
weird choice for Assassin's Creed because we've never had a protagonist in Assassin's Creed, a playable character that was a real historical figure. We've never had that before.
No.
Now,
No.
it's a fictionalized version of history. They plop you in during this time frame while these things that did happen are going on, but they make it all about this plot between the assassin and the Templars. It's a fictionalized story that takes place during real actual events. So they care about historical accuracy to a point, but they're also weaving a fictional story around it. But to then say you just wanted to make a black guy, like this is my question. Why didn't they just make it his name could have been fucking Jamal. I don't care. Just like randomly Jamal is your playable fucking character. He's not a historical figure, but by putting Yosuke there, you're trying to gaslight everyone into believing that this is real, that this is a real fucking story. And I don't know why. Mexican Iron Man, how would you feel? Like, I don't know if you feel the need to be represented this bad. Do you feel the need for them to lie and say that basically this glorified servant who, when they saw him and saw his skin was dark, they made him strip naked and scrub his skin just to see if it would come off? Like, this guy was treated actually as like a form of entertainment.
I mean,
is
he
that
was
the
the
kind of
prop.
representation you think is rewarding?
No, absolutely. He was a prop. It's exactly what Mr. J was talking about. This guy was a prop. And no wonder these woke leftist assholes like want to gravitate towards this thing. Because guess what? He was a prop then, and he's being treated like a prop now, except the only difference is that they're trying to gaslight us and use him as a historical prop. And, you know, people are so stupid that they think that they think people are so stupid that people actually fall for this crap. It's just, I mean, it's just randomly ridiculous. I mean, it would be to me as ridiculous as having, let's go back to one of the games set in the Revolutionary War. Let's have another version of that, except this time we're going to drop a fucking Mexican in there. A random ass Mexican. Well, guess what? There weren't any really. I mean, there weren't that many Spaniards that banged that many Native Americans. There weren't any. Or I don't know. Let's go back to Roman times and drop a Mexican in there. Well, guess what? The Spaniards hadn't banged the Native Americans yet. There were no Mexicans in Rome.
There were no Spaniards yet.
Exactly.
No, I mean, they
Think
weren't
of this. No,
Spaniards, but
I'm not the greatest expert on Assassin's Creed because it never did anything for me. But take this as an example. They make a new game. It takes the setting in colonial Mexico, you know, in the 1500s. You still have the Aztecs there, the Incas, the Olmecs, and whatever. I would rather play, let's say, a badass Jaguar warrior from the Aztecs than I want to play some fucking Spaniard, right? When I'm in Japan, I want to play a badass fucking Japanese ninja, man and a woman. Don't give a shit. I don't want to play a black guy in feudal Japan. What I mean, who thinks this is was a good idea? Who ever thought this is what people want? We know people have been waiting for feudal Japan since this game basically came out because assassins, ninjas, Japan, right? But let's put a black guy in there.
And that's what's one of the most frustrating parts about this is because one of the things that's been very appealing about Assassin's Creed is the whole idea of this authentic look into history. Like, you get to play as someone from the Italian Renaissance or a Native American during the Revolutionary War, and it's almost like a power fantasy through history. And now it's like they're straight up changing history because of the DEI stuff. And it's unfortunate because ultimately I think Assassin's Creed as a franchise was one of the very first signs that I noticed that wokeness was going to start taking over entertainment. Because if anybody remembers, early on in Assassin's Creed, they would have this message at the very beginning of the game saying this game was developed by a group of people of various religious beliefs and whatnot. But then when Assassin's Creed Syndicate came out, it changed to a group of diverse people of sexual orientations. I just thought, that's weird. Why would you change that? Oh, we would have no idea how much worse it would get after that.
Well, Assassin's Creed has been changing the entire gameplay over the last, 4, 5 games?
It hasn't been Assassin's Creed since...
Origins, probably.
No, it hasn't been Assassin's Creed since, honestly, Black Flag. Once Desmond died, it completely became like an entirely different game. All the combat, everything changed in Black Flag, and then it's been changing and changing. And then once you play Syndicate, once it forces you to play Jacob, and Jacob is just a fucking brawler, Assassin's Creed's been dead.
Yeah, no, it's
And
a
it's-
hack and
Yeah.
slash now.
It's
That's
an
all it is.
entirely different game. Yeah.
I didn't mind the combat in Black Flag, but that's because of a mechanics based. I understand where you're coming from in regards to the way assassins fought, but
Yeah. But I love Black Flag, but that was like the start of the change of Assassin's Creed, and it hasn't been the same since then.
yeah.
And then like
I-
you look at all the way to Valhalla, and it's like you can't describe it as an Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah.
You know,
no, it's a Witcher hack and slash.
Yeah.
Here's the pricing here. If you do want to get it, thank you, Reefer, for this. If you do want to get it, if you want the whole fucking game, I guess 3 days early, $130. Now,
Holy crap! Are you shitting me?
now
So here's the thing. Here's what is actually contained in those different editions, right? Pre-order bonuses, skins, and I want to say the digital art book. In the gold edition, the season pass gets you the one future season of expansion content, whatever that is, whether it's cosmetics, some new missions, that kind of thing. And included in that as well is one quest line. That is what you know
Just one?
right now. One quest line you get. You have to pay an extra $40 for one quest line.
That's why season passes are a freaking scam. Because I remember to this day when EA rebooted Star Wars Battlefront, and it literally only released with 4 maps, and then had the gall to say, "Hey, if you want to get a complete game, spend another $50 for the season pass."
Yeah,
and just gamble your money that will give you something good when the DLC eventually comes out.
So
Well,
I might
let's
have
talk about
fucked that up. I might have fucked that up. The season pass is future DLC. I think the ultimate pack might be your quest line. It's one of those two.
yeah, I for the record, anyone that's buying this is retarded.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
in general, because they're giving you really nothing. You're getting like an extra mission here or there, and then like you said, the built-in price for something you could pay $20 for probably later down the road anyway, like an expansion or a season pass of DLC. But go
thing
ahead,
is-
Sleazy.
I was going to say that let's not forget you're going to pay $130 for the first season. Who knows how fast they're going to roll out new seasons, right? I mean, we've seen some game companies do 4 seasons in a year. And then Ubisoft has already admitted that they're pulling old games down. You won't even have, you could spend what's it, $17.99 a month. You're looking at $200 for the monthly
Ubisoft
subscription.
Plus. Yeah.
The monthly subscription, and in 3 years they could just be like, thanks for the $600 for the monthly subscription. You don't have the game anymore.
But hey, man, you get a discount if you buy it yearly.
Oh, sure.
People,
But if
People need to-
if you purchased the crew to own and play whenever you wanted, you can no longer play it.
People need to stop pre-ordering games also. And
People
like
need to
you get to
stop
play the
paying
game,
for games.
you get to play the game 3 days early, but it's going to be broken for 3 days. So
The
why
thing is,
even
right-
try to play it that early? It's
The thing is-
hold on. I'm going to counterpoint Alec Baldwin's finger here. You need to quit pre-ordering AAA games.
I'd say
The indie
I'd say
games are
all
doing
games.
fantastic.
If it's like a small indie studio and it looks like you might be like contributing, like Kickstarter wise, sure. But yeah,
Ga-
these
games
these
like
AAA
Valheim.
companies,
You can just make a game and list it on Steam.
they're already
Games like
getting this
Valheim.
money
Games like
plus.
Valheim.
Yeah, they're getting this money plus the ESG money on top of it. So they're already putting in the retarded stuff that we don't want.
Yeah.
Let me.
I do
Let
want to
me-
point out too, because I think there's some confusion about this. This is not just a subscription to play this game. I know like some people in the chat are maybe confused by it. This is for access to basically everything offered in like the Ubisoft game library. So you're talking about a fuck ton of games, which I guess theoretically, if you really wanted to play a bunch of Ubisoft games, this might be a decent value for you. If you want that, I don't particularly know of anybody who plays it or uses it or anything like that.
So-
But this is
Look,
not just to play Assassin's Creed Shadows. I just want to point that out.
Yeah,
in
look,
this
we're- has
screenshot,
the same
okay, hold
thing.
on. I'm gonna point out I have a level 77 Ubisoft Connect account. For those of you that don't know, that's a lot of fucking playtime on Ubisoft games alone. I play a lot of Rainbow Six Siege. I haven't spent money on it in probably 5 years because I got so sick of that. I've played every single Assassin's Creed except Valhalla, own them all physical copies, or yeah, physical copies. We'll put it at that because a couple of them were not necessarily pressed onto these discs. But I've played every single one of them to completion and platted them.
Really?
Yes,
That's a lot.
all the way back from PlayStation 3.
Wow.
Right. So, as someone who has played this amount of Ubisoft games, there are not enough Ubisoft games to justify $17.99 a month. There just isn't. Because everything is Assassin's Creed, Anno, Tom Clancy's, like Siege. They don't even have the old Tom Clancy games.
Far Cry.
And yeah, like Far Cry.
And also, one last thing about the season pass thing. Another thing that I hate about season passes is you're not always guaranteed the content that comes with the season pass. One of the biggest examples of that was in Black Ops 4. They had the Black Ops Pass, and they promised multiple seasons of DLC, and yet all we got was one season because everyone got pulled off the project to start working on Cold War. So by the time the final DLC came out, there was only like 10 people working on the DLC. So
Yeah.
much like pre-ordering games, don't buy season passes.
I'm not going to comment on what I did on what I purchased with that game. That's embarrassing.
We also did joining us for the first time in a little while, I think. We've got United Spaces Alliance. Tim, welcome to the show, man.
What's
It's hard
going
for me
on?
Not to call you open airlock policy because that
Yeah,
was your
no
name
kidding.
for so long. But you got the
I just
rebrand.
started listening, but did you guys mention Ross Scott and his movement to try and get UK, Australia, Canada to create laws to prevent like Ubisoft and other companies from taking games down? I talked about it Friday night.
I've heard about this. Yeah,
I don't
I've
agree
heard
with it
about this.
because I'm a small government guy. I don't think that there should be statism involved in anything like that. If you don't want the game, then don't buy it. You sign the contract. It says, hey, at any time we can take it down. That's the way it is. So I get people's complaints about it, but I just don't believe the government should get involved in affairs like that when it comes to commerce. But
Yeah, I mean,
I have the
interesting movement he has
solution to
going
that
there.
problem, but nobody wants to listen to my opinions on that.
well, I agree with Tim, but unfortunately, the cat's out of the bag, and it's not going in the direction of smaller. It's going in the direction of bigger.
Yeah.
So
If
I'm for his movement to stop all of that from happening.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, playing a game it to me is not like a fundamental human right. You can play old games and you can play them forever. You don't have a right to say I'm buying this game and it's perpetually going to be available. If it doesn't make sense for the company to keep that game out there, then it doesn't make sense, and it should be their right as a business to take that game down. That's just my view on it. And again, if it's something when it comes to human rights, like the government can't do this, a company can't do that, then okay, great. But we're talking about a game that maybe you enjoyed for 3 years. Great, you milked it. It cost maybe $120. I think that's pretty good value, and the company can take it down. I think there were only like 180 people playing that racing game when Ubisoft took it down a few months ago, versus the 15,000 that were playing it at the height of its popularity.
Well,
So-
yeah. Let me caveat this. It's not that they just took it down. It's that they're making these games always online. So I agree. They should completely be able to take their game off the market, quit with the online support, do all of that. But if you have the game installed, you should be able to play it at least by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in theory, right? We shouldn't need the government to step in and do it. What should happen is the consumers eventually, when a company goes too
Vote
far,
with your
they're like,
wallet.
hey, this is bullshit. We don't like the way you're doing things. You've pushed it too far. We're not going to play your stuff. We're not going to purchase your stuff anymore. And then with enough consumer pressure, they might reverse that decision or not. And maybe financially they might suffer for it. That should be, in theory, how it all works out in like our free market.
And we've seen it work in other products. So it does work if people make enough noise, right? If we've seen it work.
A good recent example of this, just look at Helldivers' concurrent player count on Steam. It used to be over 1 million for 24 hours. Last I saw, it was at 66,000.
Yeah, Helldivers killed itself. It really did.
Yeah. Now, if you really want to fix this issue of AAA game companies charging exorbitant amounts of money for bullshit amounts of product that has a whole bunch of other stupid shit shoved into it, like the real market force that will drive the change in that is the one that Gaben talks about all the time, being a service issue, not a pricing issue. Right? Take the Assassin's Creed Black Flag route, so to speak. Right?
Right.
Because and don't be a scumbag. Like there's like Brazil is a hotbed for this shit because their currency is worth nothing and they have insane issues getting hardware and stuff like that. So they don't have a lot of money to actually spend on games. What I've seen, I don't know if you guys know who Pirate Software is, but he's making the game Heartbound. He used to work at Blizzard. Yeah, great. Sleazy knows he's a great streamer. I like him. I get a lot of info from him on like my career stuff, like in cybersecurity. But he made his game. He permanently discounted his game to like $5 in Brazil or some really low number like that, so that Brazilians could afford to buy his game. And now like 40% of his customers, which he has, I want to say over 500,000 early access sales right now, because he's actively developing the game and he live streams it. 40% of them are in Brazil. And he makes good money off of that. Right? If you pirate from indies, you're a fucking scumbag.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if you pirate from AAA companies?
You're fucking based.
Perfectly fine. Steal from the rich.
Morally, no. It's not any of that commie bullshit. It's morally justified to correct the capitalist market at this point.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out
with your wallet.
that these Game Pass style models make it tougher for us to speak with our wallet. If they're doing something to one game that we don't like, we would have to completely stop using the entire service to speak on that one game. And it's sort of like the Cuties Netflix situation. You know, you have to lose your entire catalog of things you were going to watch just to protest one single thing. And I think it's anti-consumer. So
yeah, but that's the way to do it. Sometimes you got to sacrifice something. Maybe for 6 months or a year, you'll have to sacrifice something to make it better. That's the way it works. That's what protests do.
Maybe your games don't
time.
download in a couple hours. Now you have to download them overnight on a VPN.
I remember when that was standard.
I do too. I also remember when I could walk down to GameStop and sell my used fucking games.
Or a Plane Train. Even older.
Yeah, I remember getting 2 cents for my fucking copy of Madden at GameStop. Thanks, GameStop.
Yeah, then they turn around and sell it for $25.
Yeah. I remember being 8, 9, 10 years old, saving money from my chores, walking down to Blockbuster on Friday after school with my brother, renting 3 games, coming home and burning them to discs, and then returning the games Saturday morning.
Yep,
because we were kids, and that's how we got our video games.
That's awesome.
But it taught us how to be tech savvy. We weren't selling these things. And my dad said he wasn't going to buy us video games.
We would buy these packages of pirate copies, like a 12-disc package with, like, I don't know, 60 games in it of various quality, you know. And I think I have 50 of them lying around somewhere in a box.
Speaking to Reefer, I recently moved and I was packing everything up, and I happened to find some some disc, and I was like, "What's on these? I don't ever remember." And popped them in, and at the very beginning, there's some text that says "Property of Warner Brothers."
Oh,
I got
that's fucking
some,
hilarious
I
because
got
it's
some
on
movies.
my disc.
Not
I got some
anymore.
movies that I got DVDs for before they get released.
I have a bunch of racing games that are on a disc, and I'm like, oh, what are these? And I popped them in because I have like the portable, detachable, whatever the fuck CD drive,
DVD drive.
and
I
and
have
I-
it built into my tower.
I just didn't do that this time. But I ended up putting it in and just seeing what it was. And I was like, hey, these are all the racing games I used to play. So I have like 6 CDs of just racing games.
So you've been playing Pepsi Man?
Sure. I don't know. I think one was called like Hot Rod Racers or something. I don't know. It was a drag racing one.
Bro,
I don't know.
Let me hit a couple of these super chats, guys. Anak Maman for $5. I don't know if you saw the absolute crapshoot that was last night, but Beardo's officially a worse gamer than Gary. I heard rumors that he didn't know Metal Gear Solid was a stealth-based game and didn't go well for him.
Wait, what?
Hey,
Hey,
Graph
Beardo,
web.
it's called
Stretch of the word
tactical
stealth.
espionage action. You're not supposed. It's called stealth.
GraphWeb for $2 for my brothers that didn't make it back. Semper Fi. Yes, it is Memorial Day weekend. Although a lot of people thank veterans on Memorial Day, it's really not what it's for. It's not for people that are currently alive. It's for people that sacrificed all, people that didn't come back home. So thank you for the reminder, GraphWeb. Appreciate it. And hope everyone is having a good Memorial Day weekend while keeping that in your thoughts. And then GraphWeb for another 2 for fuck's sake. Hashtag cancel Disney Plus.
Never
Thank you.
owned it.
Thank you, GraphWeb. Slayer96 defirst for Canadian 2. Sorry for the delays. My stylist hasn't arrived yet. We're still waiting on your Goody Bud animated comedy. You've been promising me that for 2 years, Slayer, so I'm willing to wait till your stylist gets here. Jackson Cagle for $2. Thank you. Anzac for 2 says, and Womb. Thank you. I think that means blow me backwards, but thanks.
For how much?
I imagine that's what that means. But we have to get to some Star Wars news because despite the fact that George Floyd was in the headlines for his anniversary,
Dicks out for Harambe.
the anniversary,
And that's not a George Floyd joke because the anniversary of Harambe is coming up. Holy shit, I just realized what I said.
the anniversary. that
Harambe's
really matters-
anniversary is coming up, so dicks out for Harambe for that.
The anniversary that really matters was May 25th, which is actual
Yes.
Star Wars Day.
Real Star Wars
1977, May
Day.
25th, Star Wars came out in theaters. And how ironic is it that George Lucas happened to be at the Cannes Film Festival and happened, well, on Friday, I guess he spoke, but on Saturday, it's really when everybody was talking about it, saying, not in like a cruel or mean or vitriolic way, but basically saying what he said before, that, they kind of lost their way. They lost the plot. Nobody really understands the Force. And, I left, I sold it, and that is what it is. But George Lucas, once again, had a couple things to say about Disney Star Wars. George Lucas says the ideas in the original, quote, sort of got lost in post Disney Star Wars films.
You
Lucas
don't say,
reflected
George.
on his life and work in a wide-ranging chat in Cannes, where he received an honorary Palme d'Or. I think that's how you fucking say that. And he went over a lot of shit. This is like an hour-and-a-half interview. I finally found the interview at length that I'm probably going to try to watch and get a couple clips of.
Send me
here
that
and
link
there.
if you would later.
What's that?
Send me that link if you would later. I was also trying to find it Friday.
Absolutely, I will. And it's not great.
I found snippets here and there, but I want the whole fucking thing.
I think it's right here. So it's that shelf. I'll put it in the.
Okay.
I'll put it in the private chat so I don't forget, because I did find it. It's an hour-and-a-half chat. The audio sucks, but he talked about the prequels. He talked about people that criticize his stuff for just being full of straight white men. He pushed back on a lot of that. He also reaffirmed once again what the target audience was. He said, listen, I made this for 12-year-old boys. That was like the core audience that I was kind of gearing this story towards. Of course, there's a couple things in there, like in the first 30 minutes of Star Wars, you see just black and burned fucking skeletons. You see a dude get his fucking arm chopped off, things like that. But he did reaffirm that the core audience was always supposed to be for kids and families. But this is the thing that a lot of people paid attention to. Discussing the Star Wars sequels made after he sold Lucasfilm to Disney, Lucas said the new corporate bosses got a lot wrong. I was the one who really knew what Star Wars was, who actually knew this world because there's a lot to it. The Force, for example, nobody understood the Force. When they started other ones after I sold the company, a lot of ideas that were in the original sort of got lost. But that's the way it is. You give it up, you give it up. He also talked about not wanting to work for any bosses and things like that. I guess this, by absence of a name there, means I guess Dave Filoni is not the disciple that everyone has always said he is. If George Lucas says nobody at the company understands Star Wars or the Force, but interesting. And a lot of people are pushing back on George a little bit, like to say a lot of these things a month after endorsing the current regime at Disney with that PR statement. But Tim, I imagine you have a lot of thoughts.
Well, it also means that, guess what? He's not coming back to Star Wars like we heard 2 months ago or whatever that was, right?
No.
So, yeah, he's not coming back,
George is
guys.
always coming back to Star Wars every 3 months.
He was on set of The Mandalorian, and they kicked out Kathleen Kennedy. And he's totally coming back, guys.
Was that according to your sources, or were it just rumors?
He had Gina Carano with him, and everything's gonna be right. Star Wars is saved.
The thing is, right? George is in his mid-80s now. Right?
He's 80. He's 80.
80. I thought it was 84. Yeah, 80. He is now thinking of his legacy, right? He doesn't have many years left on this planet. He is now thinking, what do I leave behind? How will people look at me when I'm gone? What will become of my creation that I thought would be the best trilogy ever made, and it also was for the better part of 40 years. Now, and he's at a point where, I'm 80 years old. What are they gonna do to me? Fuck them, Let me just be honest now. That's probably what he's thinking. I'm just gonna be honest because they can't do anything to me. They can't harm me in any fucking way now. I'm 80 years old. In 5-10 years, I'm gone.
He did after that. Some articles have a few other comments, and he's doing the politically correct thing. He says, hey, I think there's a lot of talent and ideas, blah, blah, blah. But some of the websites were trying to latch onto that. That was just the obligatory political thing to say. He didn't mean anything by it. Of course he's going to say that because he knows the people there, Filoni, whoever else. But it doesn't really mean that, hey, he likes what they're doing. The paragraph that you showed, that's where the meat is. He doesn't endorse it. He doesn't like what they're doing, and it's not in line with what Star Wars was to him, which is, let's just say it, real Star Wars.
And I think a lot of us assume that because we care about this thing so much and how upset we are, that George is going to be even more upset than we are because it's creation. I don't think that George cares a ton about it. I think that, although I think he has love for it and what he built and what he created, I think when he sold it, he was ready to move on. I think he was probably miffed and upset that they didn't take some of his considerations or they didn't take his ideas into consideration, that they didn't bring him in to help with some of the stuff. They didn't listen to him, probably, but I don't think he's super hung up on it either. I think he's like, yeah, I don't really like this, but I gave it up. I got my $4 billion fucking dollars. I have more money than I know what to do with. I have the biggest individual shareholder of Disney stock, all these things. But it's clear that he doesn't agree with the path they went down, which of course, why fucking would he? It's very similar to what he said a couple of years ago when his wife was doing that interview with that school, and he kind of walked in and said, yeah, it's not mine anymore. It's not the path that I would go on. But when
he lost control is what he said at the time. Yeah.
Right. Lost control.
When that retarded kid asked something about representation. And he also said that his political messages in original Star Wars were timeless. Like tyranny is bad, not pronouns and all that crap. So pretty based.
Yeah, exactly.
There was also a great segment where he talked about he talked very specifically about the criticism against Star Wars just being about white men. And he's like, well, listen, we had Tunisians in the first one. We had Lando. We had Mace Windu. We had representation. When it comes to women, the women were they could handle themselves. Who do you think were heroes in these stories? Princess Leia was a hero. Padme Amidala was a hero. And the line that I fucking love that he says, you can't just put pants on a woman and make them a hero. They can wear dresses. They can wear whatever they want. It's
Hillary
about
Clinton.
their actions that make them heroic. and which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's never forget Princess Leia, Queen Amidala. The women in Star Wars are usually the leaders.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it was Princess Leia who basically spat in the face of Tarkin, right? I mean,
I recognized your foul stench when I was brought on board.
yeah.
She also like led to the destruction. Well, she tried to fucking get the planet of Tatooine destroyed. I thought that was interesting. She didn't. Obviously, it didn't. But she was like totally willing.
Remote.
Holy shit, Grandmaster
What
Chris, you got a
happened?
mic. You got a mic issue.
That wasn't me.
Yeah,
What was
Grandmaster
that?
Chris. I don't know what it is. Sometimes when you move around, you're getting a lot of crackling from whatever mic that is. It was bad.
Who is it? Me?
Yeah, you're Grandmaster Chris. Yeah.
Oh,
I think that
sorry, I
that
don't
was
want-
Mr. J.
Yeah, I think
Oh, was
it?
it?
Was it
Yeah.
mine?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Wasn't
thought
me.
I thought it'd been when Grandmaster Chris had been moving around, but maybe it was
Wasn't
Mr.
me.
J. Did you hear it, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it.
Okay, well, never mind then. I'm sorry, I blamed you. It's Mr. J. It's the European.
I've been falsely accused.
You have been.
Shuck yous.
But what are your pronouns?
My
Fuck
big
and
iron
you.
is nuts.
Fuck and you.
I thought it was really
Well, fuck
funny.
isn't a pronoun.
I forget which book it is. It's a New Jedi Order. It's the one that takes place on Dantooine. And Leia is like reflected at one point out, or she tried to get the planet of Dantooine fucking destroyed, like instead of like revealing the location of the rebel base, which I thought was
That was early on, like Balance Point or something like that, when they were setting up refugee camps, I believe.
Yeah.
So it was one of the early books after the Vong really started destroying planets and stuff like that. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah,
But it's true. She was more than willing to let this planet of this indigenous population of people of Dantooine just get fucking nuked out of the galaxy instead of just, I don't know, not saying a name.
They didn't think that one through when they developed Dantooine in the EU. They should have made it, just no sentient beings. They had some kind of caveman type of species on the planet, the Dantari. They should have just made it uninhabited other than animals because, yeah, they kind of slipped there to your point.
Yeah, and back in the Old Republic, the Jedi strip had an enclave on Dantooine that you would go there in the KOTOR games.
One of the worst EU novels ever written was that one for Galaxies. It was called The Ruins of Dantooine, I think.
Yeah.
The cover art was horrible. It's like a screenshot from the game. It's like one of the worst EU books ever written, ever released, ever escaped.
Yeah, here it is. I'll find it. It's really funny though. I'm glad that it exists as a meme.
And Star Wars EU is known for having great like cover art.
Oh yeah.
Like New Jedi Order has like some amazing cover art.
Well, this one specifically was like a Star Wars Galaxies tie-in book. And here it is. Here's the cover.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
It's literally just a screenshot from the game. Yeah.
You can see the pixelation.
Look at this fucking
screams
stormtrooper.
90s.
Wow.
Don't make fun of his chicken wing.
Zero effort, zero creativity.
Yeah. But this was like a very this is like a nothing fucking book.
And look at the authors. So Veronica must have been so bad they had to have Hayden Blackman come in and clean it up.
Yeah.
With Hayden Blackman.
And this is a tie-in book for the Star Wars Galaxies game that came out like what 19.
It was like 2001, Ryan, I think.
Something 1999, 2001, somewhere around there. But yeah, fucking.
And hey, don't forget though, there's never been an open world Star Wars game until now with Outlaws. We got to remember that.
Yeah, and
Outlaws
which you can
isn't
play
even
for
the
the
first
astonishing
modern
low
one.
price of
Hold on.
$130.
Hold on, wait, hold on. Outlaws isn't even the first modern one. Do people have such short of memories that we're forgetting the Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order games? Those are open world.
Yeah, they
They're,
are.
they're baby's first Elden Ring.
I've never played them.
That would be like to call those open world might be a little bit of a stretch. But
No, it absolutely is because Elden Ring is open world. You can Once you progress past the tutorial and you reach the story beats, you can unlock different areas to expand it, but you can travel to anywhere you've unlocked whenever you want.
Yeah, I feel like Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, the worlds that you go to feel small, much smaller than Elden Ring, I guess. But
Yeah,
like
well,
by the definition, I guess theoretically they are, but they're not massive open worlds in most cases. I guess a couple of the planets on Jedi Survivor did get pretty big though.
Yeah, and, and when you say open world, that can mean many different things. It could be something like GTA, which is very open.
GTA is an open world.
Or there's
GTA is an MMO
where it's like it's open ended, but they're very linear paths. Ultimately, go back to them. It's not like you complete the level and you move on to something else. So there's many different ways you can call it open world.
Assassin's Creed was open world.
Yeah,
it was. So I knocked over a box of nails and I caught half of this conversation. Are we just completely ignoring the Old Republic? The Knights of the Old Republic and the Old Republic?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Like they are open world as well. If you're going to consider all those other ones, that certainly is too. The only unique thing about whatever this fucking new game's coming out, Gay Lesbians in Space, whatever the new game is called, the only thing I can think of as unique is the seamless transition from like getting in your ship and flying and like going into space and immediately being in space. That's like the only. Yeah, Mr. J, it is. You got some mic problem. I don't know what it is.
I mean, you could call it unique for your mic's cracking.
Like it's maybe when you does it have a cord on it?
Yeah.
I think when you're moving it or something, there's some cracking because it's not like when you talk. It's just I don't know what it's moving or something. But
yeah.
How dare you not be a professional YouTuber with a mic? And everything?
No shit. How dare you don't have a boom mic like the rest of us? God damn you! God damn it, Bernice. Sorry. But no, like Outlaws isn't even the first game to do that seamless spaceflight transition. No Man's Sky, that transition's fucking clean.
Yeah.
That just reminded me of something. I saw there was a post by some account called Star Wars GIFs, and it showed the part in The Last Jedi when like Luke has the quote unquote fight with Kylo Ren and he dodges the lightsaber. And all I can think is, remember when Star Wars would like set the trends as opposed to stealing the trends? Because that is just straight up a Matrix ripoff. And now that's just what Star Wars is. It's just stealing trends from other things. We're gonna make an open world game, but it's Ubisoft, so it's just gonna be like every other stupid open world game they've ever done with repetitive freaking gameplay and objectives.
It's gonna be a Horizon Zero Dawn clone.
Probably.
Except probably a lot less fun because there's no robotic dinosaurs to shoot.
And now this is in reference to Horizon Zero Dawn, not the second game. Except it's going to have a female lead with a beat-ass face.
Pretty much. To kind of get back to the George Lucas stuff a little bit, Mexican Iron Man is somebody who like keeps an eye on like the business aspect of everything. How do you kind of, I guess, justify what George is saying now versus the press release he gave during the Bob Iger Nelson Peltz fiasco, where he basically, maintained he wanted the status quo there at Disney?
Well, I think I think the comments I made then on Midnight's Edge are the same I'll make now, which is that there's some people like, well, he didn't write it, someone made it for. Well, yeah, it's probably his wife, his banker from Chase. Bob made a phone call and got that press release out, and but how he really feels is the tape that you have, that the link that I guess Tim and you were talking about. How he feels is not how he's going to be portrayed in the media. How he's portrayed in the media is a very different can of worms. I think it's immensely hilarious that in our fandom we like to talk about the white slavers comment. Yet it wasn't not more than about 48 hours after that he walked that shit back in quick order. and clarify that and walk those comments back. It's exactly like Tim said. I agree with Tim 100% because he noted that already there's been some walking back. Well, he did the same thing back then. And the 2 other times where he's like really said how he's really felt about Disney, someone comes around and checks him. I don't know if that's his gold digging venture capitalist bitch ass wife, that he married. I don't know if that's his banker from Chase that's currently on, that's Bob Iger's bitch. I don't know if it's Morgan Stanley, who's also now on the board of Disney, but how he feels is very different than what are his official statements. But regardless, is that I'm with Tim. Anybody that thought this mofo is coming back is freaking smoking crack rock, because he ain't coming back to nothing, nowhere, anytime soon, ever. But how he's managed in the press is exactly what Tim said. They'll find a way to back his comments back out. They let's just let George go to Cannes. He gets on stage, he starts talking, and then all of a sudden, like, whoa, what did George say? Wait, what happened? What? And then he's got to walk it back to make people feel appeased.
Yeah, and a couple of months ago, whenever that statement came out about Disney and stuff on the Friday night stream, I said exactly what you did. Remember back when he said the white sleever thing? He already apologized for it. Here's the thing. George has always kind of been inconsistent with what he portrays in his films versus what he does in real life. He had Biden in his house 3 months ago, right? Yet he comes out and says, oh, here are the messages in my movie, anti-tyranny, all this stuff. He has been 100% behind the Democrat Party since the 60s, since he was a teenager, right? Yet, some of the messages, some of the comments he makes, he wants to be independent, really isn't in line with the way he votes. So at the end of the day, it's George Lucas. He's a multi-billionaire, and he pretty much does what he wants, and he doesn't care that he's inconsistent. But it's interesting.
I agree with you 100%
when he makes comments like this.
Right, Tim, I agree with you 100%. I always have, when you talked about this stuff too, by the way, is that, and then it's like also what Ryan said, is that we care about this crap way more than George does. And frankly, you know what? If I were to create the Shang-Chi Rabbit Chicken International and all you guys made this the hottest thing and you wanted to give me $5 billion for it, guess what? I'll sell this thing to the white slavers tomorrow and I'll get over it. You know what I mean?
I'll do it for less.
I think that at the end of the day, I never thought that Nelson Peltz actually stood a chance to get that over. And I think really that George's statement is just a political statement to stable the waters because he's got a lot of fucking shares at Disney. You know what I mean? And that's all that was. The only thing that pissed me off about his statement in support of Bob Iger was not that he supported the status quo. My problem was like the line in there about filmmaking is not for amateurs or something. Yeah. Because if that was the case, we never would have had Star Wars, you motherfucker. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like the way that it all worked, having to fight the studios every step of the fucking way, having to have these big famous friends of yours push the studio to continue to do this and continue to believe in this vision from a guy who was not very experienced. That's the only reason we got Star Wars, which is what I hated. But
yeah, it's like tell me someone else didn't write that without telling me, right? Because there's no way George said, yeah, let me script this out and here you go. Like I said, he can afford to be inconsistent. Someone else, his wife, whoever had that drafted up, and he's like, yeah, put whatever the fuck you want out there. And then it got out there.
Yep.
For the record, for the people that were wondering or theorizing about George coming back, he does get asked this question, which I thought was great.
Thank you so much, George. Will you make another movie, the very last one?
No, I'm retired. The last one I did.
And then he goes and talks about the last movie he did, but very, very straightforward fucking answer. You gonna do another film? No, I'm retired. Not a fucking doubt, not a hesitation. The man's 80 years old. He's fucking done. He's never coming back to Star Wars, and he never was, ever. But
so he's making a new movie?
Because at this
point, it's not even a good idea, anyways. I mean, it's just not going to be a good idea. It's not even if it's just dumb. Of course, he is not. This is no.
Do you know what? I guarantee you there will be somebody that tries to spin what he said and be like, well, we heard the rumor that he was doing a series. That's why he said he's not doing another film.
Yeah.
He's just trying to mislead us.
Cope.
For fuck's sake.
That's what we'll have. I guarantee it.
Fuck's sake. That won't be a Midnight Edge video, I'll tell you that.
Steel Leg of History, member for a month. Be blessed. I just hit 354 subs. Thank you for the support. Hey, shout out Steel Leg of History. Keep on keeping on, man.
Hell yeah.
Congrats.
Anzac for 2 says, I'm a better shot than ABF. ABF responds, high noon tomorrow.
A challenge has been made.
Yes, challenge has been made and accepted. Anzac says, if you ever get up to the UP, you're on ABF. He says ABF has to travel for the challenge that he issued somehow.
Yeah.
But there you go.
You got to
And
come to me.
Mikey for $2. Ryan just sent you a pic on Instagram. You interested? Yeah, he sent me a cool pic of like this Hayden Christensen. Maybe like, I don't know if it was a Star Wars Celebration in Indianapolis or whatever it was, but like 25 years
there.
of the Force. Which
I
is
was there and it was awesome. Awesome event in 2002.
Yeah, he sent me a poster that it's got like Hayden on and everything. Very, very cool poster, Mikey. Very cool. But yeah, I just think that anytime George is inconsistent as a person, as a filmmaker, as a human being. He's changed his own things, and he defended changing his own things. And I've always said I think it's his right as a filmmaker to go back and do the special editions or make changes. Doesn't mean that I can't sit there and criticize him for it. I hate the fucking decision to change Han Solo shooting first. I think it's retarded. I think it doesn't make any sense. And I think that to try to soften the idea of Han Solo, Han would never cold-bloodedly kill someone like that. We need to change that. To soften him there, it really it brings down his entire arc, right?
Yep.
You have to think of Han Solo as this scoundrel, this dude who does bad shit, who's involved with bad people, isn't hesitating to blow somebody away to save his own skin. But he's got a heart in him somewhere. You see it come out at the end, and you see the evolution in Empire. And by Return of the Jedi, he's willing to fucking sacrifice his life to save his friends and his buddies and his family, really, at this point. And to try to make him look not as bad in A New Hope, I feel like takes away from that arc.
Yeah.
But that's always been George's thing.
And if you listen to the A New Hope audio drama from back in 1981, they go even further with that, because there's plenty of times during the story where Han just considers abandoning Luke and just taking the money and leaving. And it's over the course of the story when he eventually decides to come back around and help Luke destroy the Death Star. So, I'm with you, Ryan. I'm not a fan of Han not shooting first, but at the same time, like you said, I'm a lot more willing to accept it if it's the guy who created it, as opposed to people coming in and buying the IP from him.
I'm also not a fan.
Go ahead.
Also not a fan of the Battle of Yavin, because I thought the original Battle of Yavin looked great, not just for 1977, but for anything. And to just redo the entire thing with CGI, I didn't agree with that. It looks cool. The CGI looks cool, but I love the original. It was just a feat of filmmaking, especially in 1976 when they actually, and in 1977, they were making special effects changes almost up to the release of the film and putting them on the reel. But back to George, I think he is at heart a good person. I think he has an amazing work ethic. He had a rift with his father, right? Politically, especially, but I think what he did get from his father was that conservative work ethic. His father had the business. I think he sold not really a hardware store, but some kind of supplies and stuff like that. And he wanted George to take over. He didn't want to, yet his father finally saw in him, here's my son who's working his ass off. And look what he did. No one else in film history accomplished what George did. I'm going to go fully independent. I'm going to give the bird to the DGA, to the WGA. We're not going to have opening credits. He funded his own films. No one's ever done that and been as successful as he was. So I think at heart, he's somebody we should admire, even though he had Biden in his house.
Yeah, and he did the same thing with Empire Strikes Back, completely self-funded it.
Yep, and Return as well.
And kind of going back to what you were saying earlier about George has always leaned left. Ultimately, in a vacuum, that's perfectly fine. We're not here to criticize people for believing in a certain political ideology. At the end of the day, this is entertainment. This is movie making. We're not here to be lectured about politics. A lot of the best filmmakers and a lot of people have ultimately lost this in the past few years, is they had the ability to tell stories with themes that were universal that anyone could relate to. You know, him saying that the Empire are the bad guys because they're authoritarians, you don't have to lean left or right to believe that the Empire are the bad guys, because that's tyrants are bad. But
They're the good
nowadays,
guys.
Exactly, Chris. Exactly.
filmmakers completely lack the subtlety to tell their stories with universal themes. It always has to lean a certain way, and it just so happens to always lean one way. It always leans left. And that's a big reason why entertainment just it doesn't carry the same excitement that it used to anymore, because look at The Acolyte. Everyone saw that and immediately thought girl boss, girl boss, girl boss.
Well, it didn't help that literally the first press release we ever got announcing the existence of the Acolyte. It's like, hey, Leslie Headland, former Harvey Weinstein personal assistant, is doing a female-led martial arts-focused Star Wars show. Like female-focused, I believe, is what they said. Like that's
Female-centric.
Yeah, female-centric.
Those were some of the first videos I saw of yours 4 years ago, so I remember those.
And that's how it was introduced. Not, hey, we're doing a show set 100 years before. We're going to focus on combat or, you know, stuff between the light side and the dark side of the Force. No, female-centric. That's how it was promoted. So for years and years, we've known what the deal was going to be, and they've been very open about it. Which is why I think the Acolyte just has no fucking chance to do anything.
Not in the
and when you lean so heavily into this DEI stuff, it makes the narrative so much more predictable. The big reason why many of us hate the character of Rey so much is because before the Rise of Skywalker even came out, pretty much everyone knew she's not going to die. She's not going to get hurt. She's just going to win everything because they can't have the woman look weak. When you do that, it just makes the narrative so much less exciting and more predictable.
Yeah.
You know, and when you don't give a shit about any of that, it creates some fun television. I was just before the stream, I was rewatching the first season of House of the Dragon. I have no idea where that narrative's going. It doesn't really matter that they're saying they're putting in some very obnoxious political statements in the behind the scenes about women empowerment and whatnot, because I don't know, maybe they'll die. I have no idea where it's going.
Well, I think the best part about House of the Dragon is that it's a story about basically two women who started a fucking war. And it's not going to be a happy ending. And it turns out that when either of them are in control, destruction reigns and everyone dies.
That's wow, sounds like the Puerto Rican girls in my dating life.
Hey, there you go. Any Latinos will do that to you, to be honest.
Pretty much.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
But there was also another thing that George said that I thought was interesting. He was asked, hey, you know, where do you see movies going in 10 years? What do you think we'll see in the theaters? What do you think will happen in cinema 10 years from now? What stories will be told? And George is like, the same stories they're telling now. Nobody does anything new. They just do the same thing. They do a prequel or a sequel or whatever, which could be ironic coming from the man who famously made the most famous prequels we've ever had and repeated a lot of the core elements of those storytelling in those prequels. It's like poetry, it rhymes. But really what his point was, not only is nobody really willing to go out on a limb and do things and be creative and do things we haven't seen, but also studios don't want that. Studios don't want to take that risk. They want something that's like this thing. They want something that they think will just be bankable because it's attached to an IP or it's a story they're familiar with. And I don't think he's wrong necessarily.
Well, yeah, and what people don't realize, Ryan, it's the hero's journey with Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, but the difference is, right, he took the hero's journey, he took Flash Gordon, he took these elements of the father-son and redemption arc, and he blended all those things together to where, hey, it looks like it's Flash Gordon, but it's deeper than that. That was the creativity of Star Wars. So no one else is doing anything like that. Oh, look, Zack Snyder, Rebel Moon. Let's do Star Wars with another name. That's what's uncreative. And that's why Rebel Moon failed miserably.
One of the reasons, yeah.
One of
Wait,
the
Tim,
reasons,
you're saying you're
yes,
not a
yes.
fan of the spaceships that are powered by coal? God,
I
that
was worried
movie's
about the
so
carbon footprint in
terrible.
space.
You could watch that one Star Trek: The Next Generation episode for that, one of the worst ever, where they were polluting space with warp drives.
Yeah. I
Horrible.
remember
Oh
that.
yes. Oh God.
Which one was that?
I don't remember the name of the episode. I should remember it, but I've never watched it again. Like after the first airing, it was so
What would you
bad.
say is the worst episode of TNG?
That's a tough one. Probably the clip show from the second season.
Shades of Grey.
Shades of Grey. Probably that one.
That's
Yeah.
certainly up there.
Force of Nature is what it was called.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Yeah.
Oh, Force of Nature. My least favorite episode is Justice, the one where Wesley Crusher.
Oh,
is, like,
dude, that's
condemned
one of
to
the
death
best
for
with
falling
those
into a
blonde
flower
women
bed.
with barely wearing anything, jogging. I mean, yeah, man, come
I
on.
was like, what is
That was
this
the worst one. What are you talking about?
That was one of the best ones. Come
Dude,
on.
what do you, that, exactly. That was one of the best.
Cisco's still best captain.
The one that sucked to me was, wasn't it called the Far Point? The one that kicked it all off?
Yeah, that wasn't
Farpoint
good
Station.
either.
I hate those two episodes. I fucking
I mean,
hate.
that definitely is a planet where they didn't, where the local indigenous people didn't even know about a computer yet, right?
Yeah.
Almarine, count to 4. Almarine, then 3 more.
That was a Deep Space Nine episode.
Yeah, that's the worst episode of DS9.
Yeah.
Even worse than Bar
Move along
Association or Rejoined.
I know the real one that's to me the worst one ever. It's called, I got the list up now. It says Justice. That's the one where Picard has to save Wesley from being sentenced to death. They should just kill them off.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That would have been the best happy ending ever. Wesley doesn't make it past episode 8 of season 1.
Somebody needs to make a meme of that where it's like, produced by Gene Roddenberry. That's the end of the episode. Like, hey, he's stuck down there and they're going to execute him. And Picard like, okay, set course for the next mission. And then the credits roll.
Sorry, Beverly.
Prime Directive. Tough.
Yeah.
Mikey for $5, talking about the poster. It's a Star Wars Celebration poster for 2002. Do you want me to buy it and send it to you? That would be really fucking cool, Mikey. I'd love to have it in my place if you want to. Certainly no pressure or anything, but that would be very, very cool. I like that poster. Thank you. I'm gonna thank on my stream later on the stream on the main channel. Wiley Dave sent me some really cool shit that I'm gonna reveal there, so that's very cool as well. So I'm excited for that. Darth Racer for $10. Actually, I like the special effects updates in the OT, much more fluid movements. And besides, if George had that technology back in 77, he would have used it on all 3 OT films. Yeah, but at the same time, when it's almost jarring watching some sequences in it because it goes from all these effects from the 70s to clearly early CG stuff, and it is a little bit strange, and I don't mind most of it, and I think most of it is fine. But there's a couple things here and there, especially if the biggest thing to me is the things that involve the story, and Han shooting first is the story aspect. Things like them including the Jabba sequence. I'm fine with that. Is it a little bit fucking cringe when Han goes blurry as he steps over the tail of Jabba? Yeah, a little bit. But I don't mind that inclusion. I think it gives you a little bit more depth to Han and Jabba's relationship and things like that. But I did watch on Saturday. I watched Star Wars. I watched A New Hope, and I also watched Phantom Menace again. And God, Phantom Menace just looks so fucking incredible for something that came out 25 years ago. Like when you look at the way they still use the models and the practical stuff that they could, but also the way they worked in the CG for like the droids and everything, it just looks beautiful. It's phenomenally shot, which is awesome.
And it gave us Darth Maul and Mace Windu. So for all the hate they get, they gave us those 2 characters.
Yeah,
Darth
people
Maul
don't realize the special editions and young Indiana Jones led to the Phantom Menace. They were test beds for doing all that, and he said that many times. So if you like the Phantom Menace, then you don't have to like the special editions, but you got to understand that's where they came from. They wanted to see if they could make this work, and it even improved, right? Ever since 97, when they did the spec eds, when they got into the Phantom Menace, they refined it even more. So
I'm not sure if everyone knows this or not, but much like how they changed some certain things with the special editions, If you watch the Blu-rays of the prequels, they actually changed some stuff too.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
very subtle, but it's there. One of the most noticeable things is, remember the scene in the Senate when Chancellor Valorum gets voted out of office? In the original version, the crowd started chanting, "Vote now, vote now, vote now." But in the Blu-ray, it's not there. It's just a lot of noise. I don't know why they did that.
Has anyone seen the deleted scene in Phantom Menace where Obi-Wan's lightsaber doesn't fucking work?
No.
No.
No, but I have seen this deleted scenes where they speak Bainar. Oh my god.
So I swear to God, I've seen this. Maybe I'm crazy and maybe I made it all up, but I swear I've seen this deleted scene from Phantom Menace where Obi-Wan, it's, you know, the reason when Qui-Gon and Jar Jar are fucking, they're chilling in the forest and Obi-Wan comes running away, like he's running from the droids and for some reason doesn't have a lightsaber on. It's because he went into the water with his lightsaber power still basically energized and shit, and it shorted out when he tried to use it. And like Qui-Gon kind of gives him a lecture in the same way that Obi-Wan gives Anakin a lecture in Attack of the Clones about his lightsaber. There's storyboards for it. There's all stuff. I swear to God, I've seen the scene, but I can't find it anywhere.
I've never seen
I'm
it.
assuming this isn't you on Reddit 5 years ago, but somebody else said the exact same thing because I was trying to find it.
It wasn't me on Reddit,
but
I swear.
Somebody says it's in a video game.
Maybe I played the video game and I had a dream and translated it into live action. I swear to God, I've seen Ewan McGregor and shit in that scene, but maybe I made it up in my head.
And I think you probably made that up when you were abducted by aliens.
Maybe
that's weird.
Which kind of aliens?
Probe kind.
By the way, are you guys excited for Alien Romulus? Another prequel?
No, but I am excited for the RPG next week. Yes.
Oh yeah, the Alien RPG. Yeah.
Yes.
I'll probably talk about Furiosa a little bit. Furiosa box office wise on the mainstream, that thing's gonna bomb.
Did you watch it?
I didn't fucking watch it. I've got a copy I could watch. I've got a copy I could watch right here, right now, and I haven't even bothered. Just no fucking interest in Furiosa, and it's the lowest Memorial Day opening weekend in like over 30 years or something. It's bad. It's really
and
bad.
that's unadjusted for inflation, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's just straight up numbers.
Dang.
Wow.
But on Rotten Tomatoes, it's a 91.
No one went to the movies. Nobody.
Yeah,
Did
gonna.
anyone see that cringe article where someone tried to like say that Garfield and Furiosa releasing in the same weekend was going to be just like Barbenheimer? That's like, dude, you're stretching.
Well, they are both battling for number one, but it's like at the $30 million level. So I don't think it's going to quite be that. We're not going to get Fury Field. I don't think that's happening.
Furry Field.
Maximus BT for $1.99 says, "Are you retarded?" Thank you.
Yes.
Maybe.
Darth Racer for 2 says, "Yes, Han shot first." If anybody cares less about Star Wars than Harrison Ford, I don't know if they exist out there. That's still one of my favorite
Who
things
shot
ever.
first, you or Greedo? I don't care.
I don't care.
Also, when he got asked, "Are you a Force ghost in Rise of Skywalker?" He's like,
I don't know what the fuck a Force ghost is.
Yeah, he says, I don't know what that is, and I don't care.
Or that little queer asking him, "Are you excited for a Han Solo movie as a fan?" Not really.
Yeah. God, Harrison Ford. But we've been going for about an hour and a half. That's usually where we start wrapping it up, doing outros. We got almost 500 people watching over here on this channel, which I think is an awesome success. That's good to see. And since you guys are all here, I'd love it if you also followed all of the people on screen. Some of them have followings, some of them don't. Some just come on here and shoot the shit. But I appreciate the hell out of all these guys for supporting me. So I hope you guys also go and support them in turn. We'll go around the horn and let everybody shill anything you got to shill or plug what you got to plug. Starting with Sir Reefer.
I don't got anything to plug. My Twitter handle's just the username on here, but you ain't gonna see much from me. I only use that shit on the shitter.
Little shit takes.
Yep, literal
There you
shit
go.
takes. Twitter from the shitter. Yeah, don't. All I gotta say is don't give AAA companies your money. You've probably got a backlog of games that outpaces 10K hours easily. If not by indie games at this point. Or if you're really committed, yo ho, yo ho. Have a good one, folks, and a good Memorial Day.
Hey, thanks, Reaper. Sleazy does have a channel.
Yes, I do, and I'm almost up to 800 subs. So anybody who's subscribed, thank you. And if you aren't subscribed, what are you doing with your life? Come on.
That's true.
Unsubscribing. No.
I'm going to end you. That's what's
I
going
know.
to
I'm gonna
happen.
create
Biggles.
another account.
That's all you do.
Subscribe to Sleazy.
You make it too easy. I have to. But yes, I have a channel, Sleazy Society. I'm almost at 800 subs. So if anybody wants, if you enjoy the content, do subscribe. If not, it is what it is.
There you go. Sub to this man. Get him up to 800. Grandmaster Chris, what about you?
Nothing. I'm just hanging out, working hard. I've been recently doing my big watch along of Deep Space Nine.
Nice.
Almost about to finish season 4. Favorite episode so far, Way of the Warrior. Least favorite episode aside from Run Along Home is Rejoined. It's an episode that's only remembered because of the gay kiss.
Yep, lesbian kiss.
And aside from that, also just rewatching House of the Dragon season 1, getting ready for season 2.
I'm excited for season 2. For people that don't know what's coming, don't miss episode 1. It's going to be fucking insane.
And aside from that, not much else. I want to wish you all a happy Memorial Day.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Alec Baldwin's Finger, ABF from the GCA.
Yeah, we got our Wednesday show over at the GCA. We call it Late and Gay with the GCA. And for some reason, we can never start on time. But for the month of June, we might start doing it on time just to go against the grain. And we
so you're not late and gay during Pride Month, huh?
Exactly. That's the point. Yeah.
Early and straight.
We have a couple movie reviews that we just came out with on the channel, including Furiosa. Yeah, we're having a great time over there. We started alternating having some community members be on stream with us too. So go ahead and follow us.
Very cool. Get that channel up to, was it 400 we were looking for earlier? So keep subbing to that channel, guys. Mexican Iron Man, the man who's not a YouTuber, or at least claims to not be.
No, for not being a YouTuber, I will, however, be on Midnight's Edge tomorrow at noon Eastern time. So I don't have no idea what Andre wants to talk about, but I'll be there tomorrow. But thanks for having me, Ryan. Great being with all these guys. It's awesome that you do this. You know, you are. I have a lot of memberships on a lot of channels, and you have always delivered value for your members, and you've done it consistently. You're great, man. It's been a pleasure following you all this time.
I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, man. Bringing diversity to the panel, sorely needed amongst these distinguished gentlemen. Biggles, the mod Biggles is always dropping the links at everybody's stuff. Where can people find you?
You can find me at youtube.com/BigglesMets or kick.com/BigglesMets. I play video games. I talk about anime. And sometimes I just do stupid shit. So that's where you can find me. That's it.
There you go. Thanks, man. Make sure to follow Biggles. He does a lot of good work and stuff. So undersubscribed channel. So make sure to get him where he belongs. Mr. J, you got anything to plug?
No. I'm just on Twitter, and if you ever find me in there, just keep walking. Leave me alone.
I understand the sentiments. Thanks for being here, man. And last but not least, Tim from United Spacers Alliance.
Yeah, sorry I was late, but coming up on the 4-year anniversary of my first video in July. So sub to the channel. It's the name that you see there on my title. Every Friday night we stream. Going to go back to Wednesday night stream soon with a rotating topic. We'll do Star Trek one week. We'll do expanded universe for Star Wars one week. We'll do wrestling. Like to talk about wrestling a lot, both classic stuff and what's going on in the industry. We'll talk about old stuff from the 70s, 80s, movies, TV shows, get you into that stuff, physical media. So just like to have fun. I'm also creating stuff, Iron Age stuff. Right now I'm in the middle of writing a Western for a new Western magazine, online and in print. The name of that story is going to be Fata Morgana. Look up what that means. It's going to be fun. It takes place right around where I grew up in Northern California. Totally fictional story, but it could be real. And then my space opera, my science fiction series I continue to work on. I've got the ship designs that Daniel James from Australia helped me with. He's an architect. I'm talking to a couple of different artists for basically like some Ralph McQuarrie stuff to get people excited about the stories and characters that I've been working on for 27 years. So that's what I've been focused on, trying to create stuff as a true alternative instead of just bitching about stuff. So that's what I do. And again, you know, to echo Mike's thoughts, you've been doing this. You don't have to do this anymore, but you still do it. Thank you very much for doing it, Ryan. Appreciate it.
It's fun. It's fun to hang out with you guys and get to hear some different perspectives. And obviously I stream with a lot of the same people all the time. You know what I mean? And it's good to hear from other people as well and have conversations about this stuff. So it's fun and I love doing it. I'm glad if we can get you guys a couple extra subs in the process, that's fucking awesome. And I just appreciate you guys. Some of you guys have been supporting me for like 4 years plus at this point. It's kind of crazy. And when I put it in perspective, I think that's how long I've been doing shit. It's wild. Feels like it's flown by, but here we
You're
are.
coming up on 5 years in August, right? So
yeah, that's nuts.
That's insane.
But we are where we are. And as for me, I'm going to be doing my stream. I'll probably start at 5:30 Eastern. I'll start setting that up after this and start getting things together. Sundays are always, well, these last Sundays especially, always busy days for me, but it's good. So thank you to my panelists, my guys here. You'll see them next month. Let's put it out right now. I always try to do this to remind ourselves. Unless something crazy happens, it looks like June 30th, the last day of June, is going to be the next time we do this stream. So right here on this channel, same time, 2 Eastern on June 30th. We'll see all these guys once again. But thank you guys. Appreciate you hanging out. And I will talk to you. Well, a lot of you I'll see you in about an hour and 45 minutes. But if not, I'll talk to all you guys later. Peace.